In the last video, we introduced the cosmic patterns of heaven and earth described in Genesis. We also discussed the symbolic worldview and how it lays itself out as a series of fractal patterns, which consist of microcosm and macrocosm. Symbolically, the opening line of Genesis has many meanings. For example, we can read, "In the beginning, God created the heaven, spiritual reality, and the earth, corporal reality," or "In the beginning, God created the heaven, spiritual meaning, and the earth, physical expression," or "In the beginning, God created the heaven, abstract principles, or the earth, concrete examples." The pattern of heaven and earth permeates all aspects of reality, and can therefore be considered the secondary cause of manifestation. Interestingly, this is also repeated in the Nicene Creed, where it is proclaimed that we believe in one God, maker of heaven and earth, of all things visible and invisible. Shortly after, God speaks his first words, which read, "Darkness was on the face of the deep. God said, 'Let there be light,' and there was light." To understand the questions, how does it work, and what is it made of, our modern scientific understanding of light is as the interaction between invisible photons. However, our pre-scientific ancestors understood light symbolically because they were concerned about answering the question, what does this mean? In the Bible, light is a symbol of the purest expression of meaning, which is why it emanates from the heavens as God's first spoken word. It is too abstract to be grasped directly, but because it is see-through, light illuminates the earth and allows us to perceive it. Therefore, when Genesis tells us that God created light, they are not merely referring to the photons in the air, rather, they are symbolically describing God as a source of meaning and consciousness. This symbolism is quite universal, and is echoed again in the Nicene Creed, where we read, "God from God, light from light, true God from true God, begotten, not made." On the other hand, the earth is described as dark. Earth obscures light because it is not see-through. Not only that, but earth, or the material world, is inherently meaningless. It is lacking any light or clear spiritual meaning. It is important to note that God created all things, and is therefore the author of both light and dark, either directly or indirectly. In this way, light and dark are symbols, or microcosms, of heaven and earth. This symbolism exists because of a causal link between the two. Consider the following picture. As you can see, the blade and stairway have no discernible relationship. They are a dark enigma. In this way, corporal reality is like a sphinx. It is a riddle to be solved, and the cause of revelation and manifestation. Light is the invisible answer to the enigma. By bringing these two objects together, the light of the higher unifying principle, an inclined plane, becomes perceivable. Although we usually think that something is too complicated, like earth or darkness, when we do not understand it, we rarely consider the flip side. It is often the case that simplicity eludes us. Concepts are too abstract and intangible to be grasped, and detailed examples might be needed to flesh out their ramifications. In this way, it is the union of light and dark which brings knowledge. Pure light is invisible, and pure darkness makes the world imperceptible. But the correct mix of light and dark gives us vision and consciousness. Because pure darkness, or earth, is too complex to be perceptible, and pure light, or heaven, is too abstract and simple to be grasped, our consciousness reveals itself as a mixture between light and dark. Similar to the hierarchy of the chair and the written word, the universe itself forms a hierarchy between heaven and earth. The layers of the hierarchy are symbolically described in vertical space, introduced in Genesis. Earth. The earth was meaningless and confused. Water. Darkness was on the face of the deep. Air. The wind of God hovered over the face of the waters. light. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. In this way, creation is described symbolically as emerging in stages. In the first stage, only uninformed, dark, or meaningless matter existed. In the next stages, a hierarchy of matter is described as emerging. And this hierarchy eventually transcends matter, culminating when pure light or abstract meaning comes into existence and enters reality. Microcosms of the hierarchical structure of the cosmos are described symbolically throughout the Bible. For example, in the book of Daniel, Nebuchadnezzar symbolically is described as having a dream about the structure of the cosmos. We read, "This image, which was large and whose brightness was surpassing, stood before you. Its head was fine gold, its chest and arms were silver, its belly and thighs were brass, its legs were iron, and its feet were iron and clay." The image in the dream is a microcosm of the structure of reality. At the top, the head is made of the rarest and brightest metal, gold. Like light, in this case, the gold and head are associated with heaven. Gold is bright and rare, and it is from the head that ideas and concepts emerge. The rest of the statue is described as a hierarchy of metal, until finally, the feet are described as clay. The clay feet are a microcosm of meaningless earth. Feet are below and walk on the earth, and in its pure form, the earth is made of something like clay. Ultimately, the statue is made as a combination of heaven and earth. The combination reveals itself as a hierarchy, making the statue a microcosm of creation within creation. Examples like these are reinforced throughout the Bible. In Proverbs, wisdom and understanding are microcosms of heaven and earth, and it is their interaction that produces knowledge. The beginning of wisdom is, "Get wisdom, and with all you have gotten, get understanding." Wisdom is described as the first principle, or seed of reality. Like light, it is at the top of the hierarchy of heaven and earth. It can be symbolized as a physical seed, which contains all of the DNA necessary to form a human in a compact way. It is a foundational principle, which is expressed with minimal information, like an axiom in mathematics. Similar to pure light, wisdom cannot be perceived on its own because it is too abstract and simple. Therefore, it requires manifestations, or earthly facts, and examples to express it. God made the earth by power, he founded the world by wisdom, and he stretched out the heavens by understanding. Because wisdom is too simple, understanding is necessary to stretch out the heavens. This means expanding the seed of wisdom into earthly facts and examples which detail the ramifications of the seed. Understanding can be symbolized as the soil of the earth, or the womb of a mother. In both cases, a seed is expanded into something knowable. With wisdom, the Lord founded the earth. With understanding, he established the heaven. With knowledge, the depths were split, and the skies dropped dew. The interaction between wisdom and understanding creates knowledge. Therefore, knowledge is the center of the universe. It is between heaven and earth, or wisdom and understanding. The interaction can be observed in science. For example, when theory, symbolized by wisdom, and fact, symbolized by understanding, match up, knowledge emerges. Another symbolic example of the interaction between wisdom and understanding can be seen in the microcosm of a house. In Proverbs, we read, "With wisdom a house is built. With understanding it is established. With knowledge its rooms are filled." In this example, the original idea for a home is detailed into floor plans. Like wisdom, they are abstract and intangible. However, through understanding, the materials of the earth can be gathered to establish the wisdom in tangible reality. Knowledge is the result of this interaction, and therefore, knowledge fills the rooms. In this way, buildings are a microcosm of creation. The symbolism will be expanded upon in future videos, where saints will represent the spiritual pillars of the earth which uphold this cosmic house.